Good morning. Good morning. Hope everybody's doing well. Come on in. Hey, Erica. Good morning, Therese. Dr. Beth, good morning. Hope everybody's doing well. Y'all know the drill. Come on in. Come on in. Invite your followers. Good morning, Marcus. Come on in and invite your followers as you walk in the room. Don't come in by yourself. Invite those people that are a part of you and with you. Come on in. From all the dungeons. Morning, Jason. Morning. Morning, nephew, too. Oh, yeah. Drew. All right, come on in. Let's go. Y'all know the drill. Invite your followers. It's the Lord's doing, Marcus. All right. Yeah, show me where you're at. Morning, Chicago. That's why I'm so late. That's why I'm looking so hazy this morning. I stayed up. Normally, I stay up, and I'm sharing this with y'all real quick. Normally, I stay up World Series night when it's about to end because I like to celebrate the end of the baseball season. It's my least favorite of all. I just do not like baseball. I'm not a big baseball guy at all. So last night I had made up my mind I was going to stay up because I wanted to be sure to celebrate the end of the season. But y'all watched that game. If you watched the end of the World Series last night, and if you're here on the East Coast, we were up forever waiting to watch the end of that game. What's up, Chris? That was really a heck of a game. That was probably the best end to the World Series I've seen in a long time. It was a great ending and a tremendous game. Tremendous game. Come on in. All right. Some of y'all love baseball. Some of y'all like me. I tolerate it in the summer because ain't nothing else happening really. The Chicago Cubs won. The Cubs won. I mean, it's an amazing game. It was just forever. It was after 1 o'clock when I finally got into bed here. And so, yeah, 6 o'clock came so early. But I'm telling you, when I was up watching, and of course, y'all going to hear every revelator and prophet on the on Facebook and everything today because this first time Chicago's won in 108 years. Haven't won the World Series in forever. Forever. It seems like it has been a lifetime. It's been over a lifetime for many people. It's been a couple generations, going on 3 generations since they won the World Series. People in Chicago are literally going bananas. I'm not going to prophesy about the game. I'm not going to do all that this morning. We got to talk about Job. We're on day 34 of our 90-day Bible challenge, and we're in the book of Job. I told you all for the next couple days we are we still got 2.5 days left in Job, so we got a little while. Prophet LaRon, what's going on, man? Job is your life. I've heard people already message me saying that Job is just giving them their life. This is where they find themselves or found themselves many times, and for some where they are at this very moment. Job is a tough book, man. You've got to have some guts to read through Job, really, because it's long, it's challenging, it's as if they keep going through the same thing over and over again. I got some stuff I got to pull out of Job today before I even get to Job 19. And then I want to be sure I really just dig in on for a moment. I'm gonna jump in Job 19 once I really begin this morning. All right, but yesterday we were talking about, Job's uprightness, we talked about all that stuff. Uh, we talked about how Job's friends came to sit with him. They literally came and sat with him in his ruin for 7 days and didn't say anything because they were so challenged by his situation, so challenged by what he was dealing with, which was all fine and dandy. It didn't get interesting to me until his friends opened up their mouths to speak and began to talk about the challenges Job was dealing with. That's when the tide turned. Because it's very interesting that the people who say they're coming to sit with you in your misery will very quickly turn everything over, and they'll begin to discuss and or talk about what it was that you did that got yourself in that situation. And it's amazing. It never fails to me. It never fails to see how people who say that they're with you and they're on your side and will all of a sudden become some of the worst prophets you've ever known because they will use their limited knowledge base to attempt to tell you what is transpiring in and with your situation. They will attempt to use their own perception and perceptions to impose on you a false reality based upon their extremely limited knowledge base of what is actually transpiring in your life. First thing I want to say is you've got to be careful who you allow to truly see you struggle. Right. Let's go ahead and sit up. So get ready. You got to be careful who you truly allow to see you struggle, because everybody that comes by to see you struggle, everybody that wants to be on your side in the midst of a struggle is not necessarily there for the moments to console, and they're not necessarily there to bring you strength. I don't care if it looks like strength initially. You got to be careful who you allow and who you expose your struggle to. You can't tell everybody everything while you're going through, because they will immediately become microwave prophets to diagnose your situation. Good morning. Good morning, Stella. Morning. I mean, on time this morning. Going in. Hey, it's Angela. Good morning. Hey, Diamond. Morning, Kate. Hey, Mercedes. Good morning. Carl's up. Neil. How you doing, sir? Come on in. Good morning. Good morning, Elaine. Love you too, Neil. Y'all know what to do. Come on in, invite your followers. Invite your followers on your various platforms. Chris, good morning. Good morning, Roz. Good to see y'all this morning. Hey, Nadine, good morning. Tell me where you're at. Tell me where you're at as you're coming in. Tell me where you're at. What's up, Chris? Hey, good morning. Hey, good too. I hope all is well. Praying for you and your family, Virginia, College Park, New Jersey. Downstairs, Atlanta, Virginia. San Antonio. What's up, Dre? Grace in Chicago, Florida, Westminster, Colorado, Baltimore, Acadia, Florida, Newport News, man, DMV, Huntsville, Chicago, Augusta, Lithonia. All right. Definitely keep you in prayer. All those who are deployed. South Carolina, New Jersey for now. NY, Chicago, Norman, Decatur, North Augusta. Okay. Well, guys, it's great to see y'all this morning. Japan. All right. Wow. UK, United Kingdom. All right. All right. Well, guys, it's good to see y'all this morning. I'm awake by the grace of God. like literally. I think my alarm went off 7 times leaving Thursday. All right, so y'all remember? See, there it goes again. Lady K11, let's keep her in prayer. She lost her grandfather during World Changers. She's going to celebrate his life this week in Michigan. So I want to be sure that we keep her in prayer. Be sure that you help me keep her in prayer. Please, Couture. All right. So, hope everybody is doing well. It is Tuesday morning. It's Tuesday morning. I've got to be somewhat, try to be a little quiet so I don't wake up a bunch of little people. We've actually got 5 little people in the house right now. So my nephew slash godson is here as well. Can y'all hear me? Is it freezing? Am I good for everybody? I'm freezing. Okay. Everybody's good. All right. All right. So I'll wait till I hear the majority of people say I'm freezing or something. All right. So we're good. All right. So I'm going to try not to get too excited, but this is one. What's up, Ryan? This is one of my favorite books of the Bible. I'm going to go into Esther this morning. I'm going to deal with Esther, and I'm going to be sure. Let's see. I'm sure the volume's up all the way on my end. I'm going to be sure that I cover as much as I can with this. But the part I really want to stop on is Esther 6. So I'm really going to deal with Esther 6 this morning when I get to the place where I'm getting to. All right. This is an amazing book, and I think we read all the way through it today. Now, number one, we have completed 1 month of the 90-day Bible challenge. Now, for some of you, you're just jumping in. For some of you, you've been with us since the beginning, but you've fallen off. And I'm saying for everybody, wherever you're at, let's just make it happen. All right, wherever you are, if you need to stop and pick up in Esther where we're at right now, pick up in Esther. I ain't telling nobody need to go back from the beginning and start listening. Wherever you're at with us now, let's just make it happen. All right, so we're in Esther. We're in the book of Esther. Now, for me, I listened all day or part of the day yesterday coming back. I'll be in the gym listening this morning, trying to catch up. But I'm going to get caught up. Marcus, good morning. Good morning, man. Love you. I'm going to get caught up. I bet you that much. But for those that are just jumping in, just come on. Just come on along. Just come on along. You're all the way in Job. Good God. All right. So, so what I want to do is I want to deal with the book of Esther. You need to do a gym session. Come on, Jim. I won't kill you. Y'all are hilarious. Yeah, they do some very dramatic reading. I feel like I've talked about part of this with you all before with Esther. I think I was dealing with Esther 1 and dealing with Vashti and how Vashti refused to obey the king, and she refused to come out because he and his friends were slightly inebriated, and so she refused to come out. She disobeyed the king's command, and because she disobeyed his command, essentially what his advisors told him was, you got to get rid of her. Otherwise, she's going to set a new precedent for all of the women in the kingdom. And so, though she had what some would deem as a solid reason for not coming out, what really mattered the most was the king gave her a word. She refused to submit to the word of the king. And because she refused to submit to the word of the king, she completely derailed. She completely derailed what it was she was supposed to be doing as queen. Because of that, she lost her position. And she's no longer queen. And so she became, she got a demotion. Let me just say it like that. I really want to get to the whole piece where dealing with Esther 6, but I want to be sure I get the build up right. So the king begins to look for a successor. And the first thing I want you all to realize is that you don't have to be the one the others would have picked. All you need is God's favor. All right, you you don't have to be though Esther was a pretty woman. Uh, One thing I've learned is that you don't have to be the best looking. You don't have to have it all together. You don't have to be the wisest. You don't have to be the smartest. You don't have to be the richest. You don't have to be the most educated. You don't have to have the most experience. Favor can do something for you that all of these other credentials could never do. And what happened with Esther is she found favor. Now she had somebody within the rank of the king's court named Mordecai who was advising her and giving her wisdom. But beyond that, and Mordecai is really the one I'm going to end up dealing with today, not Esther, but I need to weave it all together. But Esther found favor. She found favor in the eyes of the guards. She found favor in the courtyard. She received her portion of food and preparation better than everybody else, because I'm telling you, and I want to just kind of drive a point here. Some of you all are waiting for people to open doors, and you're praying that, putting your trust in this or that to make something happen for you. I would rather have the favor of the Lord make it happen than anything else. If God does it through and with favor, favor can give you more than an education ever could. Favor can give you more than your experience ever could. What you need to start praying for and continually position your heart to pray to God for. It's, God, give me your favor. Because if I have your favor will go before me. Your favor will open doors nobody else can shut. Your favor will give me a strength and a wisdom and a resolve and a grace that can't and will not come from anything or anyone else. I'm telling you, your prayer in this season of your life does not need it. As God is preparing you for your future, as he's sending voices to help speak life and give language to where you're going, as he's sending trusted advisors into your life for you to be able to open up to and to speak with, I would rather have favor than $1 million, because there is something on favor that cannot be purchased. I don't care how well you think you got it together. There's something in favor that cannot be purchased. You want God's favor. I cannot say it enough. You want God's favor. Favor will bring you before kings at a time where everybody else thought you should still be a peasant. Favor can do something that nobody else can do, that nothing else can do. All right, so a favor, watch this, favor can even close doors for you. Favor opens doors, but I've learned that favor can also close a door for you. Some of the best things God did was gave me favor to shut a door so that I would not walk through a thing that I did not need to be in anyway. So favor can it opens doors, but listen, it'll close a door too. I mean, slam it shut. Esther found favor in the eyes of God, and because of the favor that she found when she was brought before King Xerxes, when she was brought before him, he almost instantly fell in love with Esther over and above all of the other women who had been in his courts. King loved her more than all the other women, Esther too. And she found favor and kindness with him more than the other virgins. Are y'all hearing me? She found favor and kindness with the king. I promise you. And this is what Proverbs 21, Proverbs 22 talks about. The king's hand is in the Lord's, the the king's heart is in the Lord's hand, and like the rivers of water, he turns it whichsoever way he chooses. Meaning that God will bring you before kings and high people, and he has their heart in his hand, and he can turn it according to his favor, however he chooses to turn it. I'm telling you, however he chooses to turn it. Now, so she finds favor in the eyes of the king. Now, I'm going to Esther 2 because I've got to drop this very important pin that's going to make sense later. At the end of Esther 2, Mordecai saves the king. He finds out that two of his trusted advisors, two of his eunuchs, Bigthan and Teresh, have made a plan or plotted to kill the king. And what King Ahasuerus, they plotted to King Ahasuerus, and what Mordecai does is through Esther lets the king know what they have plotted. And when it was found that it was true, both men were killed. They were hung on the gallows. And what Mordecai did was recorded in the book of the Chronicles in the king's presence. So it's essentially the king would keep a running tab of things that were important to him. And they will call it the Chronicles of the Kings. We read through that even in the book of Chronicles, in the book of Kings, and that such and such king, the rest of his life is documented in the Chronicles of the Kings. It was a piece that they would just keep as a running tab. Now that's important. I just don't want you to forget that, because what happens is Haman comes up, and Mordecai almost becomes like the three Hebrew boys. He refuses to bow down whenever Haman, who is the most trusted advisor in the rising authority within the ranks of King Ahasuerus or King Xerxes, and every time Haman would walk by, people were supposed to bow, but Mordecai made up his mind. They went about to bow to this man, and it didn't matter who he was. He wasn't going to bow in this man's presence. And so Haman made up his mind that he was going to essentially exterminate all of the Jews. Now, I'm just trying to be sure I tell the story so we build to a place, all right? That he's going to exterminate all the Jews. He's going to, kill off all the Jews at the end of the year, in the 12th month. He gets the king's signet ring, and he essentially has the king's approval to do the very thing that he's desired. He's kind of masked what he was doing to the king, but he gets the king's approval to do what he was going to do. Now, Mordecai then turns and pleads with Esther, and lets Esther know that he's about to do this. He's going to kill all of our people. Now, something very important happens in Esther 4. And this is what I want to read this part, and then I'm going to go ahead and go to Esther 6, because I believe I can make it all make sense. So Esther was wrestling over how she should handle this, because she essentially says, if I go before the king and I go in his presence and I haven't been summoned, he's going to kill me. But I want to read this, Esther 4. Mordecai told them to reply to Esther after she tells them she just doesn't know how to handle what she's just been given. Said, do not imagine that you in the king's place, chapter 4, verse 13, in the king's palace can escape any more than all the Jews. For if you remain silent at this time, liberation and rescue will arise for the Jews from another place, and you and your father's house will perish, since you did not help when you had the chance. And who knows whether you have attained royalty for such a time as this, and for this very purpose. Now, I'll tell you why this messes me up. Because God never gives you favor to go into a place to sit and do absolutely nothing. The reason why God will blanket your life with favor is because there is a reason he's sending you into a place to establish and to be the voice of change. Let me tell you something. Mordecai got her life all the way together and said, listen, if God chooses to, he'll raise somebody up to save the Jews. He said, I really am not worried as much about the Jews. What I'm worried about is you. He says, I'm worried about you because God has put you in a place, has given you favor, has given you influence. And if you don't use it now, God will still save the Jews, but you'll cause your whole father's house to be demolished and be destroyed. And said, and how do you know that the very reason you're sitting in the palace now is because God has prepared you for such a time as this? Guys, here is the next place I want to give you a blessed consolation. God will send you into a place to do a thing, to give you. He'll favor you for a position that you did not deserve. He'll give you favor and give you something that you didn't even think you were prepared for. But there's always something on the other side of it that God is trusting you with, that even though it does not make sense to you now, once you get in place, it'll make complete sense. Meaning, God will open up a door, cause you to walk through it, but give you the favor to walk through it because he's trusting you to do something else on the other side of it. What I'm essentially saying is favor also comes with divine responsibility. Favor comes with divine responsibility. And you cannot have the favor of God and be irresponsible and be jellyback and be weak-hearted and be weak-minded and not want to do what God has called you to do. You cannot have God's favor. God didn't give you favor to sit and look pretty. He didn't give you favor just to be able to show others what you have and what they don't. No. Favor comes with divine responsibility, because anytime God has given you favor, what it essentially means is that God trusts what he has just put in your hands. It means he's put you in a place and a position where he trusts you to do a thing that no one else in this hour and or this season he is trusting to do. Anytime God graces you with favor, he's given you an ability to do a thing, to say a thing, and to respond in a way that causes his glory to invade a situation. All right. And he'll do it. He'll favor you. So I think people shout about favor and we get excited about favor ain't fair. And it's true. Favor is not fair. But what also is not fair is the responsibility that accompanies favor. God will favor you because he trusts you with a thing and to be able to handle a pressure that nobody else can. So yes, favor is not fair. I believe it with everything in me. God doesn't favor everyone. Everyone cannot be trusted to the same level. Favor is not fair. But with every door that God opens with favor, he has given you a divine responsibility to carry out a task, to carry out an assignment, and he'll put you in a position where it seems and it feels as if you are under what is an immense pressure that your favor can handle. The only issue when God opens a door and you feel like you can't handle it is when you attempt to, ooh, Lord help me, when you have attempted to prostitute God's favor by not doing what the assignment calls for after he gets you in the door. Now, here's the challenge. People love God's favor, but too often, people want to pimp God's favor to get them what they want without following through what he has purposed that favor for. So understand, every time God favors you, it has a purpose. God doesn't just favor you because he favors you because he loves you. But trust me, anytime favor hits your life, it's because it has a purpose. The reason why Joseph could find favor everywhere he went, from the pit all the way to the palace, is because that favor had a purpose. Favor is always accompanied by a divine purpose. That's why it has a divine responsibility. Favor always has a purpose. God, yeah, he favors you because he loves you. But with that, he gives you a responsibility that you have to carry out in order to live up to that place of favor that you're saying that you've prayed for and you've desired and you want it. And too many people want to pimp God's favor to get them through a door without doing anything on the other side of it that causes them to see and or to feel and or to embrace the fullness of what God has called them for. So yeah, favor is not fair, but neither is the responsibility on the other side of it. You can't pray for favor and not expect God to put something on you that's going to make you have to work, all right, that it's going to make you have to work just as hard on the other side of it to fulfill the reason why he put you there. All right. So that's the first part of my rant. It tells Esther, how do you know that God did not put you there for such a time as this? How do you know that in this season, the job God has sent you to, that he's put you there for such a time as this? Do you not know, when we're talking about changing the world, and we're talking about being world changers, we're not talking about all of us being in the seat of the president or having the seat of government or having this or that responsibility. God will make you a world changer in the middle of a school, as a teacher, as a principal. He'll make you a world changer right there because he'll give you favor on the workplace to affect the hearts and the lives of the people you're connected to, for them to see who God is. World changers. The way we change the world is not on a grandiose stage where everybody is just running around saying, well, world changers. The way we change the world is when we take what he gave us and what he put on us and go right back into the marketplace. Do you understand that if you can just occupy the space that God has given you with the grace and favor that's on your life, that's what makes you a world changer. And when you can realize that you've been raised up for such a time as this, God can use you in ways that you would have never expected, and ways that you would have never known, and ways that you could never communicate and or articulate to others. Yes, in corporate America, God will make you a world changer. Please understand, God will give you market favor in the marketplace, and that is how he anoints you to change the world. He will give you a sphere of influence. He'll give you people who trust you, and they don't even know why they trust you. They don't even know why they believe in you the way that they do. But please understand, there is a grace in the marketplace. Look, Neil, you're a world changer in aviation, in the world of aviation. I can't say it enough. God will anoint you for your assignment, and that's what makes you change the world. Because when you are fulfilling the grace and the call that God has put on your life, everybody's not going to change the world through preaching on a stage. Most of us are going to change the world by being able to touch the house and to touch the lives of people right where we are by our demonstration of the gospel. Watch, because we're not afraid to touch the lepers, because we're not afraid to go into every man's world and fulfill our divine assignment, because we're not afraid to let our light shine wherever we are, however it comes out, so that people will see the power of God at work in us. Now, he tells his niece, tells Esther, we've done this, you're here for such a time as this. Esther plans to intercede. And let me tell you something I love about Esther. I'm going to get to Esther 6 now. Esther calls the people on a fast, and she says this. She gets this boldness about her after she gets checked by Mordecai. And what she ends up saying is, if I perish, let me perish. She says, tell the people to go on a fast for 3 days. And I'm going to go before the king. And listen, if I perish, let me perish. She finally, at the check of Mordecai, remembers she's been favored for such a time as this. And just because other people have not gone before the king without being killed because he didn't summon them, does not mean it's going to happen to her. Now listen, you can't own the horror stories of other people and make them a part of your narrative. For some of you, the reason why you have not stepped out is because you have listened to what happened to others, and you feel as if you do it, that same thing's going to happen to you. The reality of the situation is this: just because it didn't work for them does not mean that God won't do it for you. What I love about God is that everybody else could have the door shut in their face, but his favor on your life will give you a grace and will give you a power to walk through a thing that everybody else has been rejected in. It will give you a grace and a favor and a responsibility where everybody else has been rejected, their lives have been taken. But because you did it the right way, and because the favor of the Lord is on you, he'll give you the ability to go before kings, and where others have lost their lives, he'll give you the favor to do it. Now the issue is, you've got to be able to know what other people have gone through, but be able to say, it ain't on me. That ain't my story. That is not my narrative. Do you know who I am? I am the favorite of the Lord. I tell people all the time, I am God's favorite. I say it and I mean it. I am the favorite of the Lord, and I'm his favorite. His grace is on me. His favor is on me. I don't just take, blanket no's. I've got God's favor. I've got the favor of the, do you know who I am? I'm the favorite of God. So all of that, you're actually his favorite? No, I know for sure I am the favorite. The Lord, I'm his favorite. Right? That's what you've got to believe. You got to walk in every day of your life. And this is not cocky. It is just simply saying, I know who I am, and I'm his favorite. His favor is on me. I'm the favorite of the Lord. All right? I believe we're all his favorite when we're occupying the space that he's called us to be in and to walk in. So Esther plans a banquet. She has the king come, and she has Haman come, and Mordecai is still waiting on the outskirts. Haman is so prideful that he begins to say, you know what, this man Mordecai still won't bow, but I'm going to kill all the Jews anyway. I'm going to use him as the means by which I'm going to kill. Now, all y'all talking about you're his favorite. Now, I am his favorite. I'm his favorite. I'm his favorite. I'm the favorite kid. It's been the story my whole life. All right. I'm the favorite. All right. So he begins, he's prideful. He goes home and talks to his wife, Zeresh, and begins to tell her what's about to go down and how he's going to do this thing. And matter of fact, they advise him and they counsel him so that when they get a chance, this is what they want him to do. They want him to build gallows by which he is going to hang Mordecai. He's going to hang Mordecai and kill him because he refuses to bow at Haman's presence. I'm telling you, this is almost a picture of Daniel and the Hebrew boys in the presence of King Nebuchadnezzar. Except when the way this thing happens, the way this thing's about to shift, it makes me excited. All right, I got 20 minutes. I'm going to get through Esther 6. It's short. It's very short. So I'm going to get through it. Now, Esther 6, beginning at verse 1. Now watch this, and this is where I'm about to tell you the importance of not forgetting the seeds you sow. Watch this. On that night, the king could not sleep. The Lord disturbed the king's sleep. And the king is literally tossing and turning. He is unable to get rest. He's in a position where he's the king. He shouldn't have a worry in the world, but he can't get any rest. Why can't he get any rest? The Lord has gripped his heart and he don't even know it. All right, so he's restless. So what does he do? He has somebody to come read him a bedtime story. So he orders the book of records and memorable deeds, the chronicles, to be brought, and they were read before the king. He literally is asking for a good night story. He needs somebody to read him to sleep. Right? He tells them to bring him the chronicles of everything that has transpired. while he's been king, and they are reading to him all of the accomplishments of great men. They are reminding him of his feats, and they're reminding him of his victories. They are reading to him all of the stories of what he's done well and how great he's been as king. But then one story comes up in the Chronicles that he had forgot about. It was found written how Mordecai had reported that Bigthana and Teresh, two of the king's eunuchs who were doorkeepers, had planned to attack King Xerxes. The king said, "What honor or distinction has been given Mordecai for this?" Then the king's servant who attended him said, "Nothing has been done for him." Let me stop right here. It is in the midnight hour where God is allowing major decisions to be made concerning your destiny. And while you're worried about how a thing is going to happen, what God is doing is in the midnight hour causing favor to shift in your direction. Now watch, he's making it happen, not because of something you're currently doing, but because of seeds that have already been sown that you probably forgot about. What I love about the Lord is that the Lord can make it happen on a seed that you don't even remember. And a seed that you have sown in order to do one thing is about to make it happen in another way. All right. He simply saved the king's life. And the king, in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the night, remembers the seed that was sown by Mordecai that's literally saved his life. And what the king discovered in the middle of a restless night was, if I have not honored this man Mordecai yet, it's time for us to get busy thanking him for what he did. Let me tell you something. If you will not be afraid to sow the seed in the lives of others now, what you sow today, you may not reap tomorrow, but you're going to reap it at the right time. Mordecai never brought back up to the king how he saved his life. He didn't have to. The king remembered in the right timing that Mordecai was the vehicle by which his life was changed and by which his life was saved. So what the Lord did, because of Mordecai's favor and kindness to him in another season, it preserved his life in a current one. I can't say this enough. You may not always see your harvest in the same season. I know we love preaching about reaping, sowing, and reaping in the same season. And that is a principle. It does happen, but it doesn't always happen. It doesn't happen every time. There are times you sow seed and you won't see the harvest of it for 5 years. You won't see the harvest of it for 10 years down the line. I'm telling you, an apostle said something while he was preaching Sunday that he and I had never talked about. He had never said to me. But the truth of it is, All Nations Atlanta is living and existing not because of something that happened this year or not because we started having a conversation in April. Really, it is the accumulation of seeds that have been sown since I gave God a yes back in 1999. Since I gave him a yes in 99, it has literally been a build up to this point. So I want you to understand something. You can do something today that's going to change the life and the world of others decades down the line. Because just because you're just now seeing the seed come to fruition, and just because you're just now seeing the harvest on something you did a long time ago, doesn't mean that God ever forgot about it. What I love about God is that he never forgets what you do. They are seeds that are going to change your life. Can't say it enough. Seed has the ability to alter your destiny and to change your life. And just because you don't reap it the way that you thought that you should, or in the timing that you thought you should, heaven keeps better records than anybody else. Heaven keeps a record of stuff you forget. Heaven keeps a record. Now, they're reading through the Chronicles of the King, but what it is, Heaven had every receipt. That's right, Brian. Heaven had every single receipt of the work of Mordecai. And he didn't have to go pull a card. Heaven already had the receipt. So when King Xerxes went and read about it, he said, this man saved my life, and we didn't even honor him for what he did. Well, I don't know what we should do. He did not try to plan what was going to happen. Look at what he says. So, verse 4, so the king said, who is in the court? Now Haman had just entered the outer court of the king's palace to ask the king about hanging Mordecai on the gallows which he had prepared for him. The king's servant said to him, look, Haman is standing in the court. I love this. He's standing in the court, and the king said, let him come in. So Haman came in. The king said to him, what is to be done for the man whom the king desires to honor? Now Haman thought to himself, whom would the king desire to honor more than me? Yeah, he's about to eat his words. This is the part that just blesses my life. So Haman said to the king, for the man who the king desires to honor, let a royal robe be brought before the king, brought to the king as worn. I'm sorry, guys, just got a lock right there. God bless you. Let a royal robe be brought, which the king has worn, and the horse on which the king has ridden, and on whose head a royal crown has been placed. And let the robe and horse be handed over to one of the king's most noble officials. Let him dress the man whom the king delights to honor in the royal robe, and lead him on horseback through the open square of the city, and proclaim before him, this is what shall be done for the man who the king desires to honor. His heart finally caught up with him. Now, this is why this is important. Let me read this next section. I'll tie it all together. Then the king said to Haman, quickly take the robe and the horse, as you have said, and do this for Mordecai the Jew, who is sitting at the king's gate. Leave out nothing out of all that you said. What I love about this is that the Lord will cause your enemies to have to bless you at their own word. Did y'all hear what just happened? He said, don't leave out a thing. Everything that you just said that the honored person should get, you do it, and don't leave out one single thing. Don't let a jot or a tittle fall out of what you just said. Make it all happen, all right? Do it not for yourself, but I want you to do it for Mordecai. The very man that refused to honor Haman is the one who Haman now has to turn around and honor. All right? He's got to turn around and honor the man who he despises. Well, that's exciting for me, because the people who have opposed you will be the very ones who have to bless you publicly. Watch, I'm going to take it a step further. Those who have discussed you privately will be the ones who have to bless you publicly. Those who have despised your existence, who have despised your presence, who have done everything possible to keep you from being and becoming what God wants you to be, when God has the final word on it, God will cause them to have to expose what they have done privately and bless you publicly. The thing that I love the most about God is that not only does heaven keep good records, but heaven hears every conversation. There is not one conversation that's ever been had that was not heard in heaven as well. Now, I'm sorry, guys. I'm laughing because this is so good to me. So Haman has had all these private conversations about what he's going to do to Mordecai and how he's about to shame Mordecai and the people of Israel. However, before he could execute his plans, heaven shifted everything in the favor of Mordecai. In one moment, everything shifted in his favor. I'm telling you, you don't need years, you need a moment. You don't need a ton of time. All you need is one moment. All you need is for the plot to twist one time. All you need need is for God to expose his favor one time. Do you understand that one shift can change the entire trajectory of your life and give you favor that you didn't even know was coming? Listen, just because you lived upright and because you operated in righteousness in a season, in a time that you didn't even know you were about to get it, one shift literally can save your life. It'll change your life. It will reposition you for a destiny moment in a way that you could have never planned and or expected. All it takes is one moment. Listen, guys, one moment. One moment, God can reposition you in a way that you would not have planned for, in a way you would have never expected. God can change and shift the tide in one moment. So I need you all to see this because I'm a storyteller. I'm a visionary. I got to see it. I see it. When I can see it, it makes it even better for me. Can you all imagine the disgruntledness on the face of Haman as he is having to now put the robe on Mordecai that he thought he was about to wear. He thought he was setting up his own destiny, and he thought he was preparing a thing and preparing a place for himself, when in all actuality, in that one moment, what he was really doing was setting up a place and preparing a place for his enemy. It's good to me because here he is thinking that he's doing it for himself, but a shift has changed and literally redirected the life of Mordecai. He has to put the robe on him. He has to help. Watch. He has to help Mordecai mount the royal horse, and he has to place the royal crown on the head of Mordecai, and literally parade him around the city. The very man who refused to bow is the very man who he is having. I need him in a minute. Is the very man who he is having to now show to the rest of the people, who he's having to show to the rest of the people and parade him around the city in a way that he was despising even while he was doing it. Here's why it's important. Here's the principle in it all. When you live upright before the Lord, God will make your enemies honor you even when they weren't planning on it. God will put you in a position where your enemies still got to honor you. They don't have to like you. They can hate your guts, but they still going to have to honor you. They can talk about you like a dirty dog. They can do everything that they desire to do. But when you have lived honorably before the Lord, and when you have done what God has assigned you to do, God will put you in a place, in a position where your enemies still got to honor you. I'm a living witness. He'll put you in a place and in a position where your enemies got to honor you. So Haman literally takes the royal robe and the horse, and he dressed Mordecai. He led him on horseback through the open square of the city, proclaiming before him, because watch, he didn't just let Haman dress him. He made him have to declare over Mordecai what happens when favor hits your life. Look what he says. This is what shall be done for the man whom the king desires to honor. He literally has to walk Mordecai around, making an open proclamation that this is what's going to happen. If the king desires to honor you, this is what's going to happen in your life. God has a way of letting favor hit your life that makes a fool out of every one of your adversaries. God has a way of favoring you in such a powerful and such a profound way that it doesn't make sense to your enemies, and they will not realize and or understand why they got to honor you in a time and a season where they felt like it should have been theirs. God has a way of making a fool out of your enemies. I can't say it enough. He has a way of making a fool out of your enemies. But watch. Here's the point I have to constantly emphasize. Mordecai did not ask for any of this. There was not a day that Mordecai went back and said, the king has not honored me for saving his life. There was not a day that Mordecai even had to tell Esther, don't let him forget that I saved his life. Because here's the next principle I want to give you. Your seed will always speak for itself. If you do it with the right heart and you do it with the right posture as it pertains to your life, your seed will always speak for itself. And you never have to tell your seed how it needs to come back and harvest in your life. If you do it the right way, your seed will always speak for itself. That's why if you sow with good intention, you never have to go back and tell your seed how it must be reaped back in your life. You know, we can name a seed, we can claim a seed, we can do all these things. Don't get me wrong, but your seed will always speak for itself when you've done what you were supposed to do with honor and integrity, and you never have to call your seed back to say, you know what, you didn't do what you were supposed to do yet. You'll always reap it, hear me, in the right season. So, it says, verse 12, then Mordecai returned to the king's gate, but Haman hurried to his own house, mourning with his head covered in sorrow. Because I am telling you, I can't say it enough. I would rather live under the radar than to have God have to publicly kill my pride. I would rather live in a space where don't nobody know my name than for me to build my own platform and God have to break me down. Please understand, there is not a more painful fall than one that is coming off the platform of pride. There is not a more painful fall than the fall you've got to make off the platform of pride. Literally what happens, Haman goes home. He is crying to his wife. He cannot believe that he has been ridiculed by the man. And watch this. The Bible never talks about Mordecai saying one word. Mordecai, in all of this, his humility is still going before him. Because if it were me, well, I ain't gonna tell you what I would have done. I would have, just really been sure that Haman took his time putting the robe on me, and that, that the crown wasn't tilted as he placed it on my head, would have been the one that said, be sure that we walk slowly through the courtyard because I want to be sure everybody sees me. But Mordecai knew how to stay low. He knew how to stay low. And even in the humiliation of his enemies, he didn't allow pride to bubble up out of him. Mordecai he goes back to the king's gate. Haman goes home crying. Then Haman told Zeresh, his wife, and all his friends everything that had happened to him. Then his wise counselors and his wife Zeresh said to him, if Mordecai, before whom you have begun to fall in status, is of Jewish heritage, you will not overcome him, but will certainly fall before him. Now, let me tell you why this is important. These same trusted advisors told him to do everything that was in his heart. And in one moment, once they realized the question that they did not ask beforehand, then their story changes. Now, initially, they tell Haman, build the gallows, build it 75 feet high, and be ready to hang Mordecai from it. But after Haman comes home with this horror story of what he has just had to deal with in regards to having to masquerade Mordecai around the city, what they tell him is like, listen, if he's of Jewish heritage, there's nothing we're going to be able to do to help you. So he certainly is going to survive. They forgot to ask for the very important detail as it pertained to Mordecai's life. Let me tell you something. You can't allow people you have called trusted advisors to pump you to do a thing without all the information necessary. Be careful who you trust as it pertains to making decisions such as the one Haman made. Because people will call themselves a trusted advisor, but their only investment will be as a yes man to get you in a position that can completely derail your life. Now, I'm not saying you can't trust somebody, all right, because you have to. There are people that you have to trust. Just be sure that your trusted people are really trustworthy. There it is. Be sure that the people you should choose to trust are truly trustworthy, and that they are in your life not to just give you a blanket yes or to tell you that everything's going to be all right. But the truth of it is, be sure the people that God has called and assigned to your life have the ability to tell you when you're off, the ability to tell you when you're wrong, the ability to hold you accountable, the ability to get all the information so that they can help you make the right decision as it pertains to what you're called to do and where you're called to be and where you're called to go. Now, let me finish this up. And while they were still speaking, the king's attendants arrived and hurried Haman and brought him to the banquet which Esther had prepared. Now, I'm not going to read all of chapter 7, but I need to say something very important in chapter 7 because it's going to make it all make sense. All right. So Esther tells the king, if I found favor in your sight. Now, this is the third time she's been in the presence of the king. Now, it's very important. The king did not summon her, but she's now been in the presence of the king 3 times. She went the first time. He welcomed her in. She asked him to come to the banquet, which I can't even get into the historical aspects of it and how erroneous this would have been for her to even make such a request. But she asked the king to a banquet, and then she asked him the second day, the next day, I'm going to tell you what I need. Now, she gets in the king's presence, and she begins to tell him what has been planned to happen to her people. And then when the king asked, who did it? Esther said, an adversary and an enemy is Haman, this evil man. Then Haman became terrified before the king and queen. Right there. This is my favorite part. She brings him to the table to simply expose him. The only reason she brought Haman to the table was to expose his plot and his plan as it pertains to her people. And then the king, because the queen is offended, becomes irate. He becomes infuriated in just one moment. You mean to tell me that Esther brought him to the table simply to expose his plan? But out of that, God begins to give a revelation for the people of Israel, for the Jewish people, that goes beyond anything else I think that I can really articulate this morning. They found themselves in a place, in a position of being in bondage and slavery. Yet, you can get one person in the right place, and they can preserve everything about your life. One person in the right place. Not all the Jews in the king's court, not everybody screaming this or screaming that. I'm talking about one person with the favor of the Lord in the right place can save your life. Can't say it enough. You don't need everybody. When the favor of the Lord is positioned appropriately, it can happen through one. God can do it through a million if he chooses to, but it can happen through one person. The right favor, the favor of the Lord at the right time can do more than anybody or anyone else ever could. What I love about it is the very thing that Haman planned to do to Mordecai happened to him. It means that God will turn the plots of your enemies on their own head. What the enemy meant for evil, God meant it for good. And it all happened because one person was in the right place. One person was bold enough to speak up, to stand out, and not be afraid of the punishment that would possibly ensue because of the decision that they made. One person literally shifted the course of everything that was about to transpire as it pertained to the people, to the children of Israel, and to the entire Jewish community. All because Esther found favor with the king, was in the king's court, and was not afraid to speak up and be the miracle that they all needed. Haman found himself hanging from his own gallows. Found himself hanging. So the very thing that he plotted to do to his enemy, he literally reaped it on his own head. This is why you cannot be discouraged in this season, because it doesn't look like it's working out the way that you want it to. If you give God one moment, he can change everything. In one moment, the pit your enemy dug for you, they'll find themselves in themselves. So, God does not need a lifetime to shift your day or to shift your destiny. He can do it in a moment. And he, in one moment, can change everything that's going on or that has transpired in the context of your life. It just takes one moment. I'm telling you, it just takes one moment. And I'm telling you, my prophecy every day, that this is my day. This is my moment. Everything I need, God's going to bring it into alignment. It's my day. This is my moment. This is it. It's going to happen today. You got to start just saying it. It's going to happen today. This is my moment. I'm in my destiny moment right now. This is my day. I'm in my moment, and it's going to happen for me. God's going to do it for me today. He's going to make it happen. He's going to cause favor to shift in my direction. He's going to make it happen. This is my day. And you got to say it and believe it. This is my day. It is my day. I have done everything that I know how to do honorably before the Lord. And God is not going to let my seed go to waste. This is my day. This is my day. And I don't have to remind him of what I did. This is my day. It's my day. My seed is going to speak for me today. It's my day. It's my day. This is my day. My seed's going to speak up for me. It's going to happen. This is my day. All right. He's not going to let your seed go to waste. And you have not sown in error. Everything that you have sown with good intention, your seed will speak for you. And it's going to cause you, bring you before great men, give you great opportunity, and it's going to cause you to change the world. All right? So, that's my little Bible study lesson this morning, Sunday school lesson. Krista, let me see my baby real quick. Let me see, let on Periscope or see Andrew. All right. So that's it. If this is yours, hearts and hands. Y'all know what to do. Hearts and hands. Hearts and hands. Hey, Drew. Hi, V. Hi. Hi there. Hi there. You gonna tell everybody hello this morning? Are you gonna tell everybody hello? Hearts and hands, y'all know what to do. Hearts and hands. All right. Isn't he adorable? Good God Almighty, he is so adorable. He is so adorable. All right, guys, this is my godson, my nephew, a little bit of everything. All right, this is Andrew. He said hi. Can you tell everybody hi, Andrew? Hold on. He's so handsome. Oh, he's so handsome. It makes me sick. J. Drew, good morning. Tell everybody good morning. Tell everybody good morning. Can you say hi? Can you say hi? Now, here's the reason his mother gets Bible study every morning. Because he wakes up so she can get on. Good morning. Good morning. Hi. Hi there. Hi there. So he'll smile for me more than he will anybody else in my house. Because I know his voice. I know his voice. That's my pastor. That's my pastor, my everything else. So this is Andrew. All right, this is Tilly. I mean, you just shaking and rocking. I mean, so he gets a word every morning. I'm prophesying to him every morning from the day he came out the womb. He's been hearing from me. So you're going to have so much word in him. I told his mom his first word is going to be Jesus. All right. I mean, he just wait. Look at him. Just wait. Just that's it. He's quickening over here. He's feeling the Lord. He feels his presence over here. As long as I can get him every once in a while. Yeah, y'all see the bib? As long as I can get him every once in a while, it'll cause me not to have baby fever. What are you about to fuss about? You gonna prophesy? Speak to the people. Give them a word. What you gonna say? What you gonna say, J. Drew? What you gonna say? These are the people you be with him every day. I know. And he leaves today, so I'm a little sick about it. Andrew, can you tell everybody bye bye? You say goodbye? Can you tell everybody bye bye? Andrew. All right. He ain't thinking about y'all. All right. So, let me just remind you all, next Monday is Monday Night Madness. Let me give you all this real quick. Next Monday is Monday Night Madness. NWA stands for All Nations Worship Assembly. We have 3 locations: Huntsville, Alabama. Headquarters is Chicago, Illinois. And ours is here in Atlanta, Georgia. Yeah, here in Atlanta, Georgia. So Monday Night Madness is next Monday, November the 7th. This is a very special Monday Night Madness. It's very special because it's literally the Monday Night Madness before the major election. And elections here throughout statewide on local government, but also our national election for our president. So that night we're having a night of worship, and our night of worship is going to be very, I'll say very simple, but we're having a night of intercession and a night of prayer. And a night of worship. Our special guest will be Psalmist Rain. Psalmist Rain is going to be with us. I'll be new to Atlanta this week. Okay. All right. So service happens. Somebody put the address in. This is at the Holiday Inn and at the Atlanta Perimeter. The address is 4386 Chamblee Dunwoody Road in Atlanta, Georgia. 4386 Chamblee Dunwoody Road. Somebody typed it in for me. Here in Atlanta. It starts at 7 p.m. 7 p.m. sharp. I'm telling you all, our website is allnationsatl.org. I would love to have everybody in the Atlanta area there with us that night. It is going to be a powerful night. It's going to be a powerful night in the presence of the Lord. We're going to worship. We're going to pray. We're going to do everything that we possibly can within the context of 2 hours just to prepare our hearts for what is coming and prepare our hearts for what God is doing. I know to prepare our hearts for what God is doing. So 4386 Chamblee Dunwoody Road here in Atlanta next Monday night. I'll be saying this every morning for the next 6 days or for the next 3 days that we're on. But I'll be reminding you all every day. Psalmist Rain is our special guest. If you have not heard her, if you have not heard, I know it. Are you excited about Psalmist Rain too? Are you excited about that? All right. So if you have not heard Psalmist Rain, go look up her music. Go to Apple Music. Go somewhere. Get her stuff today. All right. Please go do it. All right. Go do it today. All right, I'm going to have our stand by the end because I know we're going to be all over the place that night. What are you fussing about? What are you fussing about, J. Drew? What are you fussing about? And I've had 4 to look good on me. I don't have time for nothing. Yeah, go listen to I'm the Great Shepherd. I'm tending to you. You are welcome, Lord. Every song on there just completely takes me out. So, yeah. Yeah. All right. You ready to go? Let's go find some breakfast. Let's go find us some breakfast. Let's go find us something to eat. You want some bacon? You want bacon and biscuits? Huh? Do you want bacon and biscuits? Let's go get some bacon and biscuits. Okay. Okay? Does that work for you? Does it? Does it work for you? All right. The friend that's a birth control. Hear me. Their mom has been telling this all. Yes. All right. So it's phenomenal. Phenomenal. For State Senate, Tanya Anderson. Absolutely. Glad you said that. We'll be sure even that night to lift that up. Yeah. Bacon and biscuits. Yeah. He eats with me. He eats with me. All right. So guys, I got to get out of here. I love y'all. I'll see you all tomorrow morning. Neil, it's gonna destroy your life. Don't listen to it while you're in the plane. We need the planes to stay 30,000 feet. But be sure you listen to Psalmist Rain. It's gonna, oh my God. All right, we gotta get out of here. I love you guys. I pray you all have an amazing day. And I will see you soon. Check her out, Bonafide. You're gonna need to play her. You're gonna need to play on the station. All right. Say bye-bye. Tell everybody bye-bye. Tell everybody bye-bye, J. Drew. All right. All right. I'll see y'all soon.